I bet on my club. Yeah, I bet on my club.
Welcome to week 15 of For Fantasy's Sake, presented by Clinch Draft House Pizza and Grill on the For Frequency's Sake podcast network, presented by Durham Remodeling, Ryan Allison Tattoo, and Jared Zook Country Financial. I'm today's host, DJ Jarvis. To my that way is Dan Hancock, and all the way over there is Zach. I don't know how to pronounce your last name.
The pronunciation is Fewert, but it's kind of spelled a little off to where you'll get it wrong 9 out of 10 times. So,
wouldn't it have been really funny if he'd have just like, yeah, my last name's Johnson. And somewhere on somebody's milk carton is Joe Winkle, who for the second straight week has sold on us and abandoned us. Danny, have you put an APB out on Joe?
No, but I did hear In the Arms of an Angel playing outside, so
Joe's going through it. The Dolphins might win today and continue their chances at the playoffs, and Joe's still going to be eternally sad because sports have betrayed him. So he says this year. So before we get started, what are I guess, Danny, you'd be the best one to ask here because I've seen your Facebook posts. What are our thoughts on the Heisman last night?
I mean, you know what I've been saying all year. I genuinely think it should have been Ashton Genty. I mean, how often do you see a running back who only plays a half of the game and he'll still have almost 200 yards on you? Because if you think about it, if they wanted to, he could have broken the rushing record by like at least 500 yards if he had played those games like the third and fourth quarter.
Yeah, missed 16 quarters, so four.
Exactly, he missed 4 full games and he outpaced every single running back by a mile. I think, Travis Hunter, obviously, like you're rarely ever going to see a player like this that can do it on both sides. I think he was more, I'm not as opposed to him winning the Heisman as he won the wide receiver award, because he wasn't even the best wide receiver in the country. What's his name out of San Jose State, who like led the country in catches, yards, catch per yard, or yards per catch, yards after contact, touchdowns, and like contested catches, wasn't even an option. And he was arguably probably one of the best receivers this year. But at the end of the day, this is what Deion Sanders wants, is just more attention on his son and Travis Hunter. So that's why I just kind of didn't really say much. I didn't want to say much about it.
Zach, you have any feelings about it?
I mean, what Travis Hunter did is impressive, just because we don't see anything like that in today's football. But when you have Ashton Genty, like you said, sitting out 16 quarters and still accumulating almost 50% of Boise State's total offense this season, and I don't know if that stat is still correct, but he led the nation in rushing yards, and then he was second, but that was yards after contact. So just for a running back to be able to average 5 or 6 yards after the contact, I think that should have put him for that Heisman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not only that, I'm looking at like Ashton Genty's career stats. He's only had one season in his college career where he's caught more than 20 passes, and he averages 11 yards per catch too alone.
Crazy.
And you everyone talks about how like, oh, it's because he played in a weaker division and those kind of things. People forget that SEC schools and Big Ten schools were trying to pay him to come to transfer out. He just wanted to finish what he started with Boise State. So it's not like he couldn't have done it in bigger conferences. It's that because clearly if he couldn't, then they wouldn't be going after him.
For sure. All right, let's get to the fantasy slate today. Play a little naughty or nice. Zach, basically, we're going to talk about like naughty or nice, buy or sell type of deal.
Okay.
So, basically naughty or nice? How are we feeling about Breece Hall, who will play after not practicing twice this week and missing last week's game?
I think if you're a Braylon Allen owner, you're feeling pretty good right now, especially the way he played last week. I would say I'd put this on my naughty list just because you have one of the worst pass defenses in football you're going up against in a game where Rodgers kind of seems to be motivated with as good of receivers as he has. So I'm not trusting much on the ground game today.
Yeah, I would probably follow up on that on the naughty list just because it seemed like last week Rodgers had a good feel with Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams finally getting where he wants to be in that Jets offense. It's sad that it's coming this late in the season, and then also it seems like Breece Hall and Braylon Allen are kind of splitting carries. So I probably wouldn't put him in a fantasy lineup.
Are you just kind of staying away from the entire situation, you think, today, or are you starting? Yeah, I mean, are you starting Allen? Are you starting Breece? If you have a better solution, are you kind of sticking away from it?
If I had to choose between one of them, honestly, I would go with the receivers on New York just because Rodgers is finally getting a groove for that offense.
I think in that case, if you're looking at it receiving wise, I would look more towards Breece, just because Breece tends to be their receiving back more than Braylon Allen's kind of their because when you see him when he gets the ball in the backfield, he's just full speed as soon as he touches the ball. He's just kind of there. I'm gonna bring it through. You create the hole they created for me, and we're gonna hope something works. So because it's either like a 1 yard run or a 30-yard run.
So I'm looking at Fantasy Pros right here, and they have him ranked as RB20. So I'm just going to throw out a couple of names, and this is in PPR. Like a would you rather. I'll take a couple from above, a couple from below. So Breece Hall or David Montgomery?
Monty, all day long.
Yeah.
Breece Hall or James Cook?
I'd still Cook. Who's healthy on that defensive line right now for the Lions?
Breece Hall or Sincere McCormick?
I don't know who the fuck that is.
RB1 for the Raiders, brother, against the Falcons.
I would rather take Max Crosby with one leg as an
Max
RB.
Crosby inactive for the rest of the
over anyone that the Raiders put out there.
As much as I hate that team, pour one out for Max Crosby. I'm sad to see him. Sad to see him on the IR. So, all righty, next one. Naughty or nice? Jameis Winston this week against the Chiefs, who are have the fourth least interceptions in the league this year.
So that's a stay away game for me personally. I think Winston's gonna do what he always does, which is be extremely aggressive no matter what. So I feel like no matter what's getting thrown at him, he's gonna fling it. He's gonna try to push the pass into his area that he can't. But there's super high winds for this game, so I think we're gonna see more of the running game than the pass game today for both teams.
Nah, both quarterbacks like to sling it. So you're saying
I think we see a Pacheco masterclass game today, is my opinion on this one.
Kind of answers the next question too. Zach, how are you feeling about this passing game today?
For Cleveland.
Both sides. Both sides.
I think really with the weather, I was watching NFL Network earlier and it looked like they had the tarp out and it was raining. So, I mean, we saw on Thursday night what that does to a team with Brock Purdy and Matthew Stafford. I think on the Chiefs, their passing game will be really good if their front O-line can keep away Myles Garrett in that front defensive line for Cleveland and kind of force Myles Garrett and all those other D linemen to get back from him and not contain him in the pocket so he can step up, run, or do a scramble drill with Kelsey or Worthy like we've seen him do before.
Absolutely, yeah. Next one we kind of touched on this when we were talking about Breece Hall versus these guys. We got James Cook. The Lions are giving up the second fewest points per game as a running back. So are we putting Cook on the nice list or the naughty list this week?
I would say naughty list just because of the way Josh Allen's been playing. I think that's simply the only reason why. Like the thing with the Lions is they put points up on you so quick they force you to pass, so where you can't do the run. But in the way Josh Allen's playing, I don't see why you're against this secondary. I don't see why you're not throwing or running the ball with Josh Allen at least 80% of the time. So I think that's the only reason I would stay away from James Cook is every red zone look he might get is just going to be a Josh Allen run.
Yeah, they seem to like Ty Johnson on third downs as well. So yeah, that James Cook, what looks so promising. I'm going to pull up the stats here, but it looked so promising earlier in the year, and then Allen's rushes have ticked up, and what do you have? Three touchdowns this last week, and then I think he had one rushing, one receiving the week before. So
yeah,
well, receiving. James Cook, a nice list or a naughty list player for you, Zach?
Probably naughty just because with Josh Allen being front runner for MVP, you got to think he's got to pass a lot in this game, especially a high scoring game with two teams that have good playoff implications heading into this week.
I mean, it's kind of a must win with both of them because the Bills are chasing the Chiefs, and then Detroit's still trying to hold off Minnesota, and the Eagles. Danny, the way your background, the green screen, when you lifted up your thing, it eliminated the logo on your can. So it's like Danny's out here trying not to give any free advertisement to C4.
Yeah, because this frozen bombsicle is not hitting today.
And our last naughty or nice for the week, T. Higgins versus the Titans, who have given up the third fewest points per game as the wide receivers, and T. Higgins kind of disappeared on Monday night. Ralph Wiggum had more catches than T. Higgins on Monday night.
So here's my thing with the Titans, and I've said this for the last couple of weeks. They give up the fewest yards to receivers, but it's because they're getting blown out so quick you don't need to throw.
Right.
That's the problem. Like a lot of people, if you look at just the numbers, it's like, oh, they shut down Jared Goff. He only had 150 yards. They were up 27-0 in the second quarter. So like why would you even attempt to throw it? Like I get it, it's Dan Campbell, but even he's not throwing it up 27 in the second quarter. Hendon Hooker played the whole fourth quarter, for God's sake. No, I think this is actually they've struggled against wide receiver twos. That's the big thing I'm looking at. It's not just wide receivers. They focus so much on the top guy, and especially when your top guy is Jamar Chase, like you got to put extra coverage on him. So I think this is a good spot for T today.
So he's on the nice list. You're sending him a Christmas gift?
Yeah.
How do you feel here, Zach?
Yeah, I think they'll be more focused on Jamar Chase with how he's been this season, especially that they're just going to forget him about T. Higgins. Even in the red zone, we know how Joe Burrow likes throwing a fade over to T. Higgins. So hopefully they can connect on one, and some fantasy owners will be pretty happy today.
All righty, so we're gonna head to commercial here. On the backside, we'll play Ultimate Roster. They've got an interesting one today. So we'll answer this question real quick from Controversial. He wants to know Joe Burrow or Jaden Daniels this week.
That's a tough one. They both have blowout potentials. I would say Daniels just because one, the running game, two, the Saints have a weaker defense. We don't really know what's going to happen with the Titans, and like I said, there's as much as they, don't really see the pass that much. They are pretty average against the pass, so I think I would just go with Daniels off the bye week.
Zach?
Yeah, I don't think the Saints will be able to contain Jaden Daniels in the pocket. And even if they get to him, he's fast enough to run outside and get a first down. And this is a banged up Saints defense. It has been since week 3, week 4. So they're missing a lot of key parts. And I think this is going to be a big game for Daniels with Jay Kaner playing on the other side. And Saints are probably going to struggle on the offensive end and give Daniels a lot of touches with the ball.
Are you going to watch this game with like a bottle of wine in the corner of your shower, just crying?
Probably. This is the one game that I will hope a Saints quarterback throws an interception, and I hope it's right to Marshawn Lattimore.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think for people in Louisiana, this is a weird game because it's like you're obviously rooting for Jaden Daniels, but it's like against your team, and they're not even they're on their fourth string quarterback.
Yeah.
Right now, and it's the Marshawn Lattimore game, revenge game.
And it's his first game in a Commander's uniform too.
Yeah.
All right. I say Joe Burrow, but I'm outruled here. So let's go to commercial here. Like I said, on the backside, we'll play Ultimate Roster.
For frequency's sake, has you covered on all things sports. From the squared circle to the hardwood and the gridiron to the speedway, we've got something for everyone. Walk down the aisle with the boys from Cards Subject to Change every Sunday as they take a deep dive into everything pro wrestling. Head on over to the hardwood with Doug Green and Watching the W each week for all the news from the WNBA. Want more insight from Pit Row? Check out the Green, White, and Checkered podcast where they give their insight on everything happening on and off the track. Need your gambling fix? We've got you there. Dan Hancock and Gotham Gambling will help you cover the spread with the Golden Ticket Show. Football more your style? Explore the waters of NFL DFS with DFS Deep Dive with Brian Craighead and Jordan Kernan each week. More into the science portion of the game? The Professor John Bush and Dennis Michelson take you into their science lab and dissect your week in the data lab. Need to know who to start last minute? The network's flagship show, For Fantasy's Sake, is here in a pinch. The fellas come to you live every football Sunday from 10 to 11:30 Central with the week's best DFS, gambling, and lineup advice. And wrap up your Sundays with Joe Winkle and Nick Brinks as they come to you live with educated ignorance, looking at all the day's action. Not enough football on Sunday? Not a problem. Kick your feet up at lunch on Monday and slip into the football lounge with Mark and Dan while they look at the week that was in news, notes, and more. For frequency's sake, you know what we mean.
All right, we are back with a little bit of Ultimate Roster here. Today's thing is I'm both right now. Must have been an NFL teammate of Marvin Harrison Jr. or Marvin Harrison Sr. All career stats will count even while on other teams, and you can't pick either Marvin Harrison. So obviously the quarterback is going to be Kyler Murray, right?
Yeah.
I feel like quarterback and wide receiver are pretty easy. Peyton Manning, Reggie Wayne, right?
Yeah, and you could even I was gonna
Edgerrin James.
Yeah.
I think
That's the thing is it's Marvin. There's no one really on that Cardinals team that's
maybe James Conner at the flex, right?
maybe Dallas Clark.
Yeah, because not even like Zach Ertz is still around throwing that to that spot. Who were did T.Y. Hilton and Marvin Harrison ever
I don't
cross
think so.
paths?
No, I don't believe so.
So T.Y. started in 2012. And Marvin Harrison's last year was 2008. Yeah, so maybe James Conner.
That's yeah.
Would
I'm trying to
Marshall
think.
Faulk have played with Marvin Harrison Sr.? '96. So when did Marshall Faulk get traded to
Pierre
the?
Garcon, maybe. Like I think he was a rookie. Like
Would
2008.
Jerome Bettis have crossed paths? No, he would have been with the Steelers by then.
Yeah.
Okay, we can throw Pierre Garcon on.
I would say either him or Connor.
Well, his first year was 08, and that was Harrison's last year. So let's throw James Conner in there. Let's try it. Okay. Oh, not even Edgerrin James. Marshall Faulk. I mean, we did okay.
Yeah, we just had James in the wrong spot.
Yeah, if we would have thrown Marshall Faulk in there, still an A. Jordan will love this. Must have been a teammate with Sam Darnold.
Running back, you could do McCaffrey.
Oh, yeah, in Carolina.
Well, also San Francisco.
Oh, good call.
Was Darnold in Carolina when Cam Newton had his 1 year back or a few games back?
Oh.
I think he was, yeah.
What year is this?
I think that was the 2020 season, and then 2021 he went to the Patriots.
Yeah, but then he came back to Carolina.
No, yeah, 2021 is when he came back because he got cut. Yeah, so
how many years did that we got to figure out?
Darnold was there for only 1 year.
Yeah, so see, he would have been in the Jets for 4 years, right? Because they wouldn't have picked up the fifth-year option. So 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah, so he'd have still been. Who did the Jets have as his backup? Did they have
He was in Carolina 2021 and 2022 because he was a backup for.
So
he was the quarterback they brought in for Matt Rule.
So he would have crossed paths with Cam.
Yeah.
And who would be a good flexi guy?
Thinking like Aaron Jones, maybe.
I'm down for that. Does this look good? Guys, got anybody?
Yeah, I think this looks pretty good.
So Kittle and Cam are right. Good call on Cam. Watch Jefferson's supposed to be. Oh no, Jefferson wouldn't be in the flex. He's got less than Jones. Oh, Demaryius Thomas.
Oh, Frank Gore. I totally forgot about him.
1 year he was terrible.
Pour one out for DT. We got another question from Brett Amos from Twitter. Jacoby Myers or Jalen Waddell, non-PPR?
I'd go Waddle today, honestly. I think Tua has just been so hot with the ball in his hand.
Yeah. Waddle for me as well.
Yeah, I agree with the Waddle pick.
All right. Well, let's head to commercial. On the backside, we'll play Flex Mary Kill. Maybe give Danny some betting advice because we know he's terrible at it. So, just kidding. That would be me.
Serving the Quad Cities area since 1973. And with over 50 years of excellence on their track record, you'll see why it's so easy to trust their experts when it comes to all of your home improvement projects. This family-owned business has you covered on all your needs. Protect your home or building from the elements today and get great roof repair services. Need new windows? No problem. Durham Remodeling can upgrade your windows and doors. Whether you want to upgrade the little details in your home or office, or want to tear a room down and start fresh, the expert contractors at Durham Remodeling have your back. Even the smallest changes can completely transform your space. Ready to start entertaining your friends for backyard barbecues? Durham Remodeling will help you plan, design, and build your deck and patio for the perfect outdoor space. Durham Remodeling's work is 100% guaranteed, so you can rest assured that you're getting the best service around. Call 309-786-6715 today for your free estimate for all your roofing, siding, flooring, windows, and painting needs. That's Durham Remodeling, 309-786-6715.
Alrighty, we are back playing a little bit of Flex, Marry, Kill. It's exactly what it sounds like. You want to flex, marry, or kill. So marry is starting, flex is flexing, and killing is benching. The first one here, Danny probably did it. Danny, don't Doug Green me here. Tyrone Tracy, Sincere McCormick, and DeAndre Swift.
I'll marry Tracy, I'll flex McCormick, and I'll kill off Swift. That they've turned into running back by committee to see who's going to be the starting running back next year in Chicago. So I just wouldn't trust anyone on in a Bears uniform the rest of the season.
Zach?
So you said the flex is like the middle one, right?
Yeah, flex. Yeah, so you flex would be
Okay.
flexing them, marrying would be starting them, and killing would be.
I would kill McCormick only because I don't really know what he's done this season. I don't know. I didn't even know who he was until we started this. Flex Swift and then marry Tyrone Tracy. He's almost at 1,000 rushing yards, and just as a rookie, that's pretty impressive.
But you know what's funny? It's those players that get brought up that we don't know that'll always be good. Did you remember a couple of weeks ago someone asked us about a guy on the Patriots, and it was like their punt returner?
Oh yeah,
And we were like, yeah, don't even think about putting him in. And he had like 75 rushing yards and almost 2 punt return touchdowns.
That's funny. I will flex Tracy, marry Sincere McCormick, and kill DeAndre Swift. I'm big on I'm big on Sincere McCormick. Playing Dynasty, he's been on my radar for a couple of weeks. So I'm big on him. All right, flex, marry, kill. It's funny because we just had this guy in one of our questions. Flex, marry, kill. Jacoby Myers, Jordan Addison, and Khalil Shakir.
So between these three, I'm gonna marry Addison. I'll flex Shakir, and I'll kill off Myers. Again, like I said before, the Raiders are like the Bears. They're just playing for who's gonna have a job next year. So I think Myers' job is secure, so I don't think they're going to be worried as much at getting him the ball as there are pretty much other players. Addison is in this position over the last couple of weeks of if the ball is not going to Justin Jefferson, it is going to him. And if you guard him, then you leave Justin Jefferson on a one-on-one, and you cannot stop Justin Jefferson in a one-on-one. So I'll trust him at least to get a touchdown, maybe like 10 fantasy points this week at a minimum. And Khalil Shakir, it's the same thing we talk about all the time. Never trust anyone on a Josh Allen team, any wide receiver, because he's been like one of the top targets, but he could have 2 catches for 10 yards, and then it just goes to Kincaid all game. You know what I mean? Like Josh Allen could rush for 200 yards and not even throw a ball. Like we never really know.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I would do Addison, Shakir, and then Jacoby Myers.
I agree. I agree with Brian. All right, flex, Mary, kill, Brian Robinson, Jerry Jeudy, and Ladd McConkey.
I'll flex B-Rob, I'll marry McConkey, and I'll kill off Judy. If this turns into a blowout, then they've been giving the ball to some of the backups a little bit more.
Yeah.
Again, I think they know they got to use Robinson, but they also know like they want to keep him fresh if they get towards the wild card.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good like week or two with some weaker games to get McNichols a couple more touches. And I don't like Jerry Jeudy. I feel like we also should talk about how last week, I think it was Romo said Jerry Jeudy was the hottest wide receiver in football right now.
Yeah.
Like Jamar Chase is not also in that same division.
Wasn't paying attention, I guess.
It wasn't Josh Allen wasn't on the field, so he didn't know what to say.
Yeah, he didn't have Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes to gush over.
God, we need just a Chris Collinsworth, Tony Romo broadcast. If it's Chiefs
Bills in the playoffs.
And it's they don't even talk about the game. They're just talking about how much they love the quarterback.
I'll tell you this guy. Joe does a good no, it's not good, but he always
better than yours.
Uh-huh.
Better than yours.
Oh, definitely better than mine. Alrighty, last one we have here is Flex Mary Kill, Jonathan Taylor, Brian Thomas, and Rashad White.
God, that's a harder one than I thought. I'll marry Taylor just because he gets consistent touches, and I'll flex Rashad White because I think they've kind of found his spot back in the offense again. And Brian Thomas with the Jets having Mac Jones at quarterback is not going to be pretty.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think with Brian Thomas was really thriving early in the season with Trevor Lawrence, and I think with a backup that probably won't do anything. And then it seems like Bucky Irving has been doing pretty good in his rookie campaign. So Rashad White might be splitting, maybe getting a little more carries than Bucky. And then Taylor's been really consistent this year. I think he's averaging 75 in his last 10 games. So I trust him to get the ball and run for a few yards this week.
I'd feel a lot more confident in White if I knew what they were playing with Bucky Irving was. We got hurt last week with the back injury. It was questionable all week, up and down for practice, pretty limited. And they say he's expected to play. I just wish I knew kind of more what their plan was. They didn't elevate another running back, but they got Sean Tucker on the roster as well, who's gotten some run and done decently well. That being said, I also agree with you guys to sit Brian Thomas. So we have a couple of questions here. Braden Powell wants to know, start 2. London, Sutton, Neighbors, Connor, Jones, Thomas, and Addison. I feel like you've got to go London and Addison.
For me, Jordan Addison is definitely my number one. I think depending on how the game goes with Baltimore and New York, if Baltimore gets up to a good margin, it'll force Daniel Jones or not Daniel Jones. Is it Tommy DeVito that's playing this week? Drew Lock?
Yeah, DeVito.
Okay. It could force him to throw to Neighbors. I know he's almost at 1,000 receiving. I think either Neighbors or London would take that second spot.
I just like with what they've done in the offense. I think Sutton over the last 5 or 6 weeks has been wide receiver 5. So I'm big on Sutton with this week. I feel like Addison's kind of moved in that situation where unless they're playing a really good defense who has two strong corners, you can't really sit. You can't really sit Addison at this point. Solid roster. I think that's crazy to think that we're sitting Drake London in any leagues, or Aaron Jones or James Conner.
Yeah.
Honestly, the only person here that I probably would have never said was Brian Thomas, given the situation. I think there's several leagues that you're starting Brian Thomas in, but the rest of them are to think that you're sitting any of those guys. Your team must be solid.
Yeah.
And Justin Turner wants to know, should I start Rico Dowdle or Zach Charbonnet? Charbonnet has been awesome anytime he's been the lead back for Seattle. So even though Green Bay's been pretty solid defensively, you've got to go Charbonnet.
Yeah, I agree with that. Seems like the Dallas rush just kind of been struggling this year. I think they only have one rushing touchdown at home this week. I know they're playing on the road, but I think that could transfer over. So I think Zach Charbonnet is a good go-to option.
So I'll go against y'all here. I'm going to say Dowdle. The main reason why is this. Over the last 3 weeks, Green Bay has faced David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, A-Chain, Christian McCaffrey, and only one of them has had more than 50 yards. Their run defense looked terrible at the beginning of the year, with a bunch of 100-yard games from like Saquon and Jonathan Taylor, but their run game has gotten a little bit better over the last couple of weeks, and we just saw Carolina's gotten absolutely decimated in the run game this year. I mean, I know obviously Rico Dowdle isn't the same as Saquon Barkley, but Barkley had over 124 yards. We saw Bucky Irving get 152 and Rachaad White get 76. The last RB1 to not hit their rushing line against them was Kareem Hunt, and he missed it by 5 yards. And then before that, it was literally Javonte Williams like 5-6 weeks ago, and he only missed it because Jaleel McLaughlin had 50. So I think Dowdle's a better choice here. With the way the Cowboys are playing, I think they got to stick with the run game here today, even though I think we could see CeeDee Lamb get a couple of rushes. This is one of those games you have to attack their weakness. You can't just play your game. You have to attack what they suck at. And for the Panthers, it's running. So I think we could see Deuce get a big run today. That's kind of how I'm looking at it.
That is a fair take. The actives, inactives just came out. Obviously, as we knew, Breece Hall active, Tony Pollard also active. Inactives: David Njoku, Tyler Conklin, Keaton Mitchell, KJ Osborne, and Zane Gonzalez. Was there an injury for Njoku this week?
I didn't see anything.
Hamstring injury. It's been listed as questionable. He did miss all 3 practices. So find your shitty Cleveland tight ends and fire them up, because the Chiefs can't cover tight ends.
David Njoku's been battling with injuries all season.
At first, he had to battle with Deshaun Watson as quarterback. Now he has to battle with his hamstring injury. Poor guy. All right, we'll head to commercial. On the backside, we'll talk about Joe Sin. Oh, wait, Joe didn't show up.
Serving the Quad Cities area since 1973. And with over 50 years of excellence on their track record, you'll see why it's so easy to trust their experts when it comes to all of your home improvement projects. This family-owned business has you covered on all your needs. Protect your home or building from the elements today and get great roof repair services. Need new windows? No problem. Durham Remodeling can upgrade your windows and doors. Whether you want to upgrade the little details in your home or office, or want to tear a room down and start fresh, the expert contractors at Durham Remodeling have your back. Even the smallest changes can completely transform your space. Ready to start entertaining your friends for backyard barbecues? Durham Remodeling will help you plan, design, and build your deck and patio for the perfect outdoor space. Durham Remodeling's work is 100% guaranteed, so you can rest assured that you're getting the best service around. Call 309-786-6715 today for your free estimate for all your roofing, siding, flooring, windows, and painting needs. That's Durham Remodeling, 309-786-6715.
All right. The most recent weather update from Cleveland is no rain. So, all righty. So before we jump into the next thing where we'll talk about bets, I just want to touch on just how amazing this late slate of football games that we've got going today. We've got Bills and Lions, we've got Eagles, Steelers, we've got Colts and Broncos, which is 2 playoff contenders. There's one other really good game out there in the NFC. I mean, is this probably, are you guys looking forward to the Red Zone channel for this late slate of games this week?
Yeah, I have a theory that every time there's an overhyped game in scoring, it always turns into a low scoring slugfest. You remember, I think it was last year. I can't remember who they were playing, but it was like the Lions were playing someone, and it was the number 1 scoring offense and the number 2 scoring offense against each other. Like the total was getting close to 60. Everyone was expecting like the greatest offensive showcase ever, and then the final score was like 10-13.
Was it the Chiefs opening night?
No, it was like week 5 or week 6. Like I can't remember. I remember like it was like the game right after they got smoked by the Ravens, and everyone was talking about how like, oh, this is a perfect spot for like a game that's going to have 60-70 points, and the final score was like 17-13, and neither team could get an offense going. So like I think this is going to be a really fun game because, as many people have said, this is a potential Super Bowl matchup. I really don't see any team that has the chemistry or the skill in the NFC to stick with the Lions right now. And the way Josh Allen is playing, he's going to will this team at least to the AFC Championship game at minimum.
Maybe. I think another opportunity where you have your potential Super Bowl matchup is the battle for Pennsylvania with the Eagles and the Steelers playing in that second slot.
Yeah, I think that's a game of 2 teams that they're hot, but when you look deeper into their team, I don't think either team has a playoff content or a championship contention. Like it's one of those where when you look at their numbers on the surface, they look unstoppable, but then when you look down deeper into it, there's something sitting there that's just waiting for the implosion. It's the same thing we saw last year with the Eagles. This far into the season, yeah, they were great, but when you looked at it, they were getting outgained every single game. They were getting lucky stuff on defense, and let's not forget in that Eagles Ravens game, the score only looked the way it did because Tucker missed a bunch of field goals and extra points. If he didn't miss those, that game's a little bit closer, and we might be a little more worried about the Eagles on the surface than we are currently. But yeah, I think this is a fun. I think we're back officially the first week with every team back playing again to start the end of the season. I think it's going to be a fun game. I mean, there's whatever every team's playing, there's always something fun going on. Like you can even have fun watching like the Jaguars and Jets. There's always something you can see happening.
Zach, are you a Red Zone guy?
No, I'm more of just Sunday ticket. But for that Pittsburgh Eagles game, I think it'll be a good test for the Steelers because they have a real tough schedule the next 3 weeks. I think they play 3 games in 11 days, including the Eagles today, the Chiefs on Christmas, and then the Ravens. And they haven't won in Philly since 1965. So I think this is a really good chance or a really good opportunity to show that this isn't a fluke season and we deserve to win the AFC North, and we deserve to get at least the 3 seed in the AFC.
Can respect that. And then another good game we've got in that second slot, Tampa Bay and the Chargers.
That's an interesting one to me because Herbert has not looked the best over the last couple of weeks. And granted, they've still won their games. They've still been playing well. But Herbert, his passing game has seemed to, I don't know, take like second place in their offense. Let's not forget, like as on and off as Atlanta's been, they held him to the whole Chargers team to under 200 yards. And that's something to look out for, like this late in the season. Is this just a case of a team that like was playing steady and then now they're kind of slowing down, the fatigue setting in? So I think this will be really a test because this is one of the worst passing defenses in football, mixed with a slightly above average run defense. And what will Harbaugh do?
Yeah, and for this game, I know they're in 2 separate conferences, but this is really big for the playoffs, which are just about a month away. You have Tampa holding on to, I believe, a 1-game lead over Atlanta, and then the Chargers just trying to hold on to one of those final wild card spots. I think one loss, whoever loses this game is in the hot seat for the rest of the season. They have to win out. So this is a must-win game for both teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at it now. If the Chargers lose today and the Broncos win, if the Broncos win and the Dolphins win, it's pretty much gonna eliminate the Colts.
Yeah.
And if the Chargers lose, then they drop to the 6th seed and they're having to try to hold off this Miami team that's been really hot lately. Especially with like, if you're your first round matchup right now, it's either would you rather face the Bills or the Steelers if you're LA. So, and in terms of for the NFC, I mean, yeah, Atlanta should have an easy win this week. And the way the NFC rest of the league is playing, it's a must win. If you're in the NFC South, if you're not winning your division, you're not making the playoffs. So this is a must win. If they win, they go 2 games above the Falcons. If not, they're both tied.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're essentially tied now because Atlanta has the
exactly, and the
Commanders
Commanders are the last wild card spot, and they're 8-5.
Yeah, I mean, there is a scenario where if the Commanders crash and burn, I don't know what their schedule looks like, but where they crash and burn, and that a second NFC South team makes it.
Honestly, there's so many must-win games today. Like if the Packers, if the Seahawks lose, they're tied with the Rams. If the Packers lose and the Commanders win, the Packers drop to the final wild card spot, and they'll have to face the Eagles versus facing the Seahawks again.
Right.
Like everything in this and for the wild card right now, it's like the next 2 weeks are must wins for every.
I mean, you said Seahawks have
they
to
all
win too,
play
right? Because Seahawks. You said Seahawks have to win too, right?
Seahawks. If Seahawks lose, they're tied with the Rams. If they
Rams,
win,
yeah.
they're a full game ahead. If they lose, then yeah, they're tied with the Rams, and they'll be a game behind the Commanders unless Hainer pulls out the greatest game of all time.
I mean, kind of just like you said, just kind of an exciting week all around then too, because like I said, Lions, Buffalo both have implications there. I mean, except when you look at like nobody gives a crap about like Jaguars, Jets, except for people like Danny, Giants, Ravens. So,
well,
right,
I had something big on the Ravens game, but I'll go over that in the betting segment.
No, you're up.
All right, cool. So I'll start with my we placed a future the other day on Moneyline Go. If you guys aren't familiar yet, Moneyline Go is where we place all of our bets before they go to Twitter. It's the best marketplace to find top cappers, top bets, all for free, and you get access to everyone's VIP plays as well for low costs. So make sure you guys check us out on Moneyline Go. We also have a Twitter. Moneyline Go posts every single free play on the site, on their website, on their Twitter account as well. But we posted this the other day. The Ravens to win the division at +1. I believe it was 180. Double checking it now. And the main reason for it is actually what you were mentioning earlier, Zach, about with the Steelers' schedule. The Steelers have the third hardest remaining schedule in the league. The Ravens have the 23rd hardest schedule in the league. The Ravens have this game, they have Houston, they have Pittsburgh, and then I believe Cincinnati, and that's it. And if Cincinnati gets out of the playoff race, I think they'll most likely sit Burrow. I have it at plus 175. You can still get it at plus 180 on Caesars Sportsbook right now. But as I said, Pittsburgh has the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Eagles to finish off their schedule. And they're only like 2 games ahead. So if the Ravens win out and Pittsburgh loses 2 of these, then the Ravens win the division. It's worth the value to put at least 3-1 odds on the Ravens to win the division for a little bit of money. So we put half a unit on that. Other than that, we have a loaded card. This is probably our biggest betting card in about 3 weeks. We have 9 bets today. So I'll start with my first one that was posted on Twitter an hour ago. Once again, you guys can check that out at Gotham Gambling on Twitter. All of our plays are posted for free every single day. We show you how to use your profit boost, parlays, straight bets with full breakdowns of everything. Zach Ertz over 4.5 receptions. Now, I'm a Saints fan myself, born and raised from New Orleans. But I think we can both agree as Saints fans, their defense has been absolutely horrendous in terms of how much they've been letting go. We saw Njoku with 9 catches. We saw Will Dissly with 5 catches. Kyle Pitts had 4. Earlier in the season, Kelsey had 10 against them. So this is not a defense that's fully together this year. I think they're just trying to get through to the end of the season. But the main reason for this play is this. There is no reason Zach Ertz getting 5 receptions should be plus money odds. It's plus 126 right now on FanDuel. Every other book has it at 3.5 receptions. So I'll take a little extra money for 1 extra catch because Ertz is the second most targeted player on this team. Ertz has over 25% of the targets. And in the red zone, he has 30%, the most targets in the red zone of every player. So Ertz has been one of Daniel's favorite targets. I think they're going to try to stop McLaurin in the deep ball today, which is going to leave a lot of short routes for Ertz and a lot of availability. So I'm going to trust Ertz here at plus 126 to get 5 catches. You can also catch him to get a touchdown at plus 230 on FanDuel as well. We put a little bit of money on that. The next one, I wish Joe was here because he knows I love making him feel more miserable when we talk about the Dolphins. But we're going to take Houston money line in the first half, minus 142. Miami has been kind of on and off in the first half. They've been beating good teams in the first half. They've been losing to bad teams in the first half. But Houston in the first half is 11-2 straight up and against the spread in the first half of games. They start out quick. They've scored 200 points, which is the 3rd most points in the first half this season, and they're only giving up 75 points in the first half. They have been imploding in the second half, which is the main reason why I'll just take the first half juice here. I don't even want to look at the second half, especially as hot as Tua has been. So Houston money line in the first half, minus 142. We also have a boosted parlay that we're running on BetMGM. Broncos money line, Bengals money line. 2 teams in must-win situations against 2 teams who are either eliminated or essentially eliminated, unless the Miami beats Houston today. But then again, I still don't believe Indianapolis has a chance. Denver needs this win more than anything, so I'll trust Denver to kind of get it done at home. And Cincinnati needs a win to stay any form of alive in the wild card race. They need to win out the rest of the season. So we'll take them too. You can get that at plus 132. $10 wins you an extra 13. And let's see. 2 final plays here that I like, but I'm kind of sprinkling, not putting too much on it. Mac Jones to throw an interception. Simply put, Mac Jones in his last 11 games has only had 1 game where he has not thrown an interception. And that is because the defense was not preparing for him because he was not expected to play until Trevor Lawrence got decapitated on live television, like an ISIS video. Mac Jones this game plan is not set up for Mac Jones. He was more just brought in because he's the hometown kid to be the backup. And when he's played the Jets, he's thrown at least one interception in 5 consecutive games against the Jets. He's not the answer today. I'm going to trust that he's going to throw at least one pick. I think they're going to get down enough that they're just going to start chucking it. I don't think they're going to get beat enough that they're going to pull him for a third string. So I think we'll see Sauce Gardner get something going. I think we'll see this defense kind of pick up its pace a bit. And the final play today, God, I wish Joe was here because we have talked about this one team in the second quarter all season. So Zach, since you aren't familiar, one of my favorite bets this whole year is the Lions in the second quarter have scored 147 points. They've only given up 30 in the second quarter this year. Well, they're playing a team that has scored the second most points in the second quarter at 115. So Buffalo and Detroit, and especially because I don't know if you look at quarters when you bet, most of the time this quarter like totals are at like 9, 10, like a field goal and a touchdown, right? The second quarter total is at 17.5. They're expecting 4 scores minimum in the second quarter. I think it's worth a risk here. Buffalo versus Detroit over 16.5 in the second quarter alone. Just 17 points is 2 touchdowns and a field goal from 2 of the most high-powered offenses in football. Minus 115 on DraftKings for about half a unit, worth a couple dollars there. That's my card. We'll have the full card out on Twitter by 1 o'clock today, so make sure you guys check that out, as well as all of our NBA bets, Sunday night football parlays, and Monday night football plays early.
And Danny, I last week gave you a challenge to put together a parlay of guys with hyphens in their name. This week, I gave you a challenge putting together a parlay with guys with 2 first names. So, i.e., Josh Allen, Travis Kelce, guys like that.
Yep.
What do you got for us?
So this one was fun. I know a lot of people, when you look, first thing I looked up with this was Derrick Henry, but it's the Giants, so I just decided to stay away from it. Which, by the way, later on, I have a lotto play that I might bring up for you guys if you guys want it. But I focused on one game in total because when I looked at every player that had a last name that could also be a first name, like 7 players stuck out from this game. But I chose 3. We're looking at the Bills and the Lions game. So the first one we have is Josh Allen touchdown. Josh Allen, every game this year that has been a potential playoff matchup, Josh Allen has scored a rushing touchdown. Or he has had some kind of like, I'm at the 5-yard line. I'm going to like dive for the end zone like Ja Morant trying to poster a 7'10" guy.
But he doesn't. Ja Morant doesn't dunk anymore.
Yeah, until he put out the craziest dunk I've ever seen in a game. So we're taking Josh Allen touchdown because I think they're going to play enough coverage on these receivers that they're going to force Josh Allen to run. I don't think they have anyone in the middle that can stop Josh Allen. And when Josh Allen gets going and he's committed, he is not stopping. So I'm taking him for a touchdown here. I'm taking David Montgomery over 15.5 receiving yards. Now, I know Gibbs is normally the receiving back, but David Montgomery has hit this line over the last couple games. He has been secretly racking up the receiving yards. Its line's currently at 18.5, so it's moved a lot. He's went 20 or more yards in 6 consecutive games. He had 33 last week. Buffalo gives up the second most receiving yards to running backs. And I think when Montgomery's in, they're aware he's going to run the ball every time. I don't think they're expecting screen passes, but he's going to get a couple screen passes and get open today. And the last one is Tim Patrick to get over 15.5. What was it? Sorry. To get 25 plus receiving yards. His line's at 30. I'd rather take it at 25. He's like wide receiver 5 on the depth chart. But over the last 4 weeks, he's gotten at least 4 targets in 4 consecutive games. Buffalo has struggled with non-wide receiver 1 receivers. So J-Mo, Tim Patrick are probably the best 2 options here besides Amon-Ra. So, and last 3 weeks, he had 55, 48, 43. And then against Jacksonville, he had 26. I think this is a good spot for him to get at least 1 to 2 catches. It's kind of like Westbrook Akine, where it's like he'd get one target, but it's like a 60-yard play or like a random 40-yard pass. So I think it's worth the risk to put Tim Patrick in here. If you don't like that, you could also go with someone like Derek. You could take Derrick Henry's rushing yards, or you could even take Justin Herbert's passing yards is another one I like today as well. So, but that's it for me. I have a long shot play. It's plus 1,000. It's a single bet. It's Keaton Mitchell to get the last touchdown of the game for the Ravens.
Keaton Mitchell is out today.
Is he out? Okay,
Yeah,
so I didn't see that. I placed that last night. Whoever the RB2 or 3 is for the Ravens, take them to score the last touchdown of the game. If they blow this game out enough, Derrick Henry is not going to see the ball in the fourth quarter. So it might be worth like $1 or $2 to see if you can get some extra money on it.
So RB2 would be Justice Hill, but they use him a little too much. Trust him in garbage. So let's see. Rasheen Ali would be RB3.
I don't even think you can find a line for him.
Can we get a Patrick Ricard anytime touchdown?
That might be worth it.
All right, let's head to commercial. On the backside, we'll do a little bit more.
When you're working to achieve your financial goals, it helps to have some trusted guidance along the way. Jared Zook with Country Financial is here to help you identify your goals and provide more support to work through any changes life may bring. As both a financial advisor of Country Trust Bank and registered representative of Country Capital Management Company, Jared can help you plan for your financial future. As a Country Financial insurance agent, he's prepared to help you with insurance options to protect the people and the things that matter most. Jared is there to support you as you plan for the future and to help you worry less and live more. Jared is licensed to insure in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Iowa, Indiana, Kansas, Missouri, and Tennessee. Call Jared today at 217-698-0599 or find him on Facebook at Jared Zook Financial Representative and tell him For Frequency's Sake sent you.
All righty. Let's talk a little bit of narrative games. Only got a couple of revenge games that are none of them are relevant, but we're going to play them anyway. So revenge game, Tyler Boyd today against the Bengals. Over or under 24.5 yards?
I'm going to go under because they're not using him. But they really aren't. It's Calvin Ridley, Tyjae Spears, or Westbrook Akine. Like they're really there's not a spot for him right now in the offense.
Zach?
I think the only way I would take the over on that is if the Bengals have probably a 2-possession lead in probably early in the second half, forces Tennessee to pass, and maybe they draw up a play to get them a good chunk of yards, maybe 15, 20. He may fall short of a few yards, but I'd probably take the under on that.
Yeah, I think the thing is like you use Tyler Boyd as your kind of like, I can't get the ball to Ridley. There's no check down available. Let me try to get it to Boyd. But the thing is Will Levis's mindset is if I can't get it to my wide receiver 1, it's going 50 yards downfield.
Right.
And that's where Westbrook Akine comes in.
Touchdown or check down. Dude, it's kind of crazy. Just his stat lines are kind of crazy. Like he's gone over 25 7 times. He's gone over 35 twice.
Yeah, but this is essentially the same defense as last year. And if any team knows how to stop Tyler Boyd, it's going to be his former team.
Right. No, I just think it's nuts that just like they spent money on him to sign him and then
that's the thing. On paper, they like going into the offseason, it's like, okay, you have 3 top 50 receivers, arguably, on your team. You just need a quarterback. And then their quarterback just couldn't get it done. And then at a certain point, you brought in all these players who had solid seasons the year before or were set up to have good seasons. And it must be something in Tennessee because like players go there when they're like at their peak and then struggle.
Right. Alrighty, second one, also at 24.5 yards. Kareem Hunt versus the Browns.
I'll give it. I still think they're gonna. I mean, you're more of the Chiefs guy than I am, but I still think they're gonna share the yardage at least a bit with Pacheco. I think now that they've clinched the division, like I wouldn't be surprised if I saw like a 50-50 split.
Pacheco literally can't afford to play much more. He got fined $45,000 for helmet to helmet. He made $52,000 on the game.
Yeah, I just think it's like you already made the playoffs. Your Pacheco's obviously going to be your main back in the playoffs. Why not just keep it a 50-50 split between the two?
For sure.
Yeah, for that, I think even if you're splitting the carries, I would hope for maybe a 6, even 5-yard run out of Kareem Hunt here and there just to accumulate to that 25 yards. So I like the over on that.
Then we've got 2 quote-unquote homecoming games. Rico Dowdle from Carolinas, over under 77.5 yards.
I'll take his over. I think, yeah, he's, like I said before, they're going to have to rely on him today.
Yeah, with all those stats that we were hearing earlier about Carolina's run defense, I trust Rico Dowdle to make a good impact on this game, especially when they're underdogs and showing that even with Dak Prescott out, that they're better than the Panthers.
Yeah, I didn't even realize Rico Dowdle was from Asheville.
And the last one for revenge game we've got here is Travis Kelce from Cleveland Heights, Ohio. Over under 54.5 receiving yards against the Browns.
Taylor Swift's boyfriend is banned in my book for the last year and a half. So I'm not even looking at this. I'm not even joking. Every time that I go through game by game and do a breakdown to see if I like anything, I just skip Chiefs games at this point. I'm so tired of the Chiefs. It's like betting the Boston Celtics. Like you think you have an edge and you have the right angle, and then all of a sudden the fourth string running back goes off for 75 yards and throws a touchdown pass.
That's fair. I'm going to go over and say that he scores a touchdown today.
Yeah, I think just him and Mahomes, I have no doubt that he'll get over there. Even on just those short little comeback routes, I think he'll find a way to get open and get some yardage out of them.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. That's the thing, is Andy Reid and his little stupid game plans being like, oh, it's your hometown game. We'll make sure we throw it to you. Like we do some kind of stupid trick play where you're throwing the touchdown pass or some shit like that.
Well, Kareem Hunt's also from Cleveland too, so maybe he'll throw a touchdown pass to Kareem Hunt.
They're gonna bring Jason Kelce out of retirement. He's gonna snap the ball to Jason Kelce, and Kelce will throw him a touchdown pass.
All righty. Let's go through these games. I'll pick out a line. You guys tell me over under. Tyreek Hill over under 74.5 receiving yards.
I'm gonna say under today. I think this is gonna be a Waddle, Jonnu Smith day.
I have hope that Tua's still hot from the last few weeks, so I'll take the risk and go over.
Tyreek Hill is the greatest player to ever be used as a decoy for a full season. Like that's just insane. The way they're using him.
Nick Chubb over under 39.5 rushing yards.
Under. I think they're gonna get down quick, and Jameis is gonna be forced to throw.
Yeah.
Chuba Hubbard over under 89.5 rushing yards.
This was a hard one for me. I was debating on betting this, and I stayed away from it. But I think he could go over today.
Yeah, I think if he's not going over, I think it'll be a close game, so an equal amount of run to pass. But if he doesn't go over, I think he'll get just a few yards shy of it.
Derrick Henry over under half a receiving yard.
I'd hope over. They run a screen or something.
They don't throw it to him. That's the thing. Like I'm so used to Tennessee just like we're gonna throw a screen route and let you run it. But like, nah, they don't throw it to him. I'm gonna say under. I don't think they're gonna do anything flashy today. I think they're just gonna give him the ball, let him get his reps in, and then take him out.
When I started reading that, I legit thought it was over under half a touchdown, and then as I continued,
No, legit, they don't throw him the ball. He gets when they throw, he's used as a blocker.
That's how he had that game against Carolina or against the Chargers where he didn't score and he had 14 fantasy points just because he had 140 rushing yards and just didn't get in the end zone. Breece Hall over under 42.5 rushing yards.
I'll say over. I think they'll go up by 10 and run the ball out.
Yeah, if they're in that kind of situation where they're just running the clock out, I think he can get the over.
Jake Haener over under 186.5 passing yards.
Under.
I'm gonna say over. I live for the fourth string quarterback. Like, he's gonna, like, this is Saints fans. Let's be real. He's gonna have like a slightly above average game, and they're gonna be talking about how he's technically better than Derek Carr, and that they need to get rid of Derek Carr and start Jake Haener, even though it needs to be Spencer Rattler when he comes back from injury.
Jake Haener will throw a wide open pass to Juwan Johnson or Cedric Wilson, and all Saints fans will just say, trade away Derek Carr, and Jake Haener's the new Drew Brees.
I've been saying trade away Derek Carr for a year and a half. He's the reason Olave is hurt, and I will stand by that.
Yeah. At the beginning of the year, I was confident. You know, he had a bad year last year. Maybe he'd turn it around. Olave gets 2 concussions this year. Ship him.
Not even concussions, paralyzed on the field. Like
the
these
one
weren't
in Carolina was
he had a bad
absurd.
throw and he hit. Like, he literally put him in danger. But no, this is the Marquez Valdez-Scantling perfect game. Who better to target in the backfield, in the secondary, than to just throw it at Marshawn Lattimore and say, fuck you, we're going to make you try to beat us because we know how to play you. This is that game where you're going to see Valdez-Scantling like 50 yards downfield wide open, and he's going to fumble the ball because he didn't expect to be that far open, or Haener to throw it that far.
Both of those are realistic there.
When I saw what was it, that week that we did the Westbrook-Akine Marquez Valdez-Scantling hyphen touchdown, when he got the touchdown, I was more shocked that it was inside 20 yards.
Right.
Than the fact that he scored a touchdown. Like, I've never I looked at it. He's had 3 touchdowns in his career inside 25 yards. That's insane.
That is insane. All right, we're going to go to commercial, and then we'll finish out the games. If I can find my mouse.
My name's Ryan Allison. I've spent over a decade immersed in the art of tattooing. Sharply honing my skills has materialized into a diverse and prestigious body of work. Each tattoo reflects my relentless pursuit of excellence, and every client I work with is a living embodiment of that unwavering commitment. I will gladly and wholeheartedly embrace your distinct vision.
Do you love everything sports? So do we. That's why we shop at Atomic Sports Cards and Collectibles. Atomic has everything you could ever want to blow up your collections. They have sports cards ranging from the 1980s to today, whether it's singles, wax packs, hangers, or boxes. They've got vintage hats, clothes, and collectibles from your favorite teams to widen your collection. Check out Atomic Sports Cards and Collectibles today at 102 4th Street West, Milan, Illinois.
You from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football. Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and Twitter, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
You from the West, we got you covered.
All right, we are back. If you've got questions you want us to answer, drop them in the comment section. We will answer them. I will stop whatever we're doing to answer your questions. Jamar Chase, over under 90 and a half receiving yards.
I'm going to say under for Day, but I'm going to counter you with this. Chase Brown over 72 and a half rushing yards.
Over.
And then it was that or his rush plus receiving yards at 97.
Ooh. Over.
I asked Joe, but Joe's so depressed. He said, why not? Nothing matters anymore.
You asked him today?
Yesterday night at like 2. I texted him that at like 9 o'clock, and he texted me at 2 in the morning and said, nothing matters anymore. Just do it.
I love how most of us would be this if like our girlfriend broke up with us or whatever, and just like my teeth suck. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not doing the dishes or nothing when the Chiefs lose, but like I'm depressed for like 5 minutes.
How do you think I feel? I live in a house with an Angels fan.
With a what fan?
An Angels fan.
That's what I thought you said.
Yeah.
Those exist?
Yeah. Well, they're all Ohtani fans.
Did she really just dig watching Angels in the outfield as a kid?
No, she just liked Ohtani. And then I took her to an Angels-Yankees game, and they got smoked by like 15. And she was like, maybe it's just a bad game. And then I just watched her slowly descend into madness like the Joker.
Fair enough.
While my Braves were like going 100 wins.
Marvin Harrison Jr., 59 and a half receiving yards.
I'll let you go first on this one, Zach. I got to look something up before I say an answer to this one.
Real quick question. Who are the Cardinals going
Patriots
up against today? Okay. I'd say over just because I don't really know who else would be targeting, but
he loves him some Michael Wilson.
And some Trey McBride.
Yeah, except not in the end zone.
Yeah, I was gonna say Trey McBride still hasn't gotten a receiving touchdown yet, right?
Right. Mm-mm. Yeah. They're gonna run a play.
To be fair, he's had like 2, but they both got called back.
Well, he had that one play too at the end of the game, that one game where he was wide open in the end zone and Kyler just missed him.
I'll say yes just because of this. I looked at the last 3. I'm looking right now at the last 4 teams they've played. No, last 3 teams they've played. Outside of Indy, they've given up 130 yards or more to at least one receiver. And I don't think he's going to throw to Michael Wilson enough for him to get 130 yards. Besides the Colts game, the last time a receiver did not get 70 or more yards was the Bears game. That's it.
Interesting. Jordan wants to know Breece Hall or Jonathan Taylor.
I'd go Hall, honestly, here. I know I'm not playing Jordan this week, so I'm confident answering that one. I'm on a bye in every single one of my leagues. This is so boring. I hate it. This is so stupid. I hate it.
I'm going to go Jonathan Taylor.
I had to go through bye week hell for 2 weeks in a row to not – my full team is back and I'm on a bye week.
Just to go through bye week hell?
Just to be on a fucking bye week. This is bullshit.
Yeah, on this one, I'll go Jonathan Taylor just because we talked about Breece Hall earlier, maybe going with Braylon Allen and using Breece Hall as a receiving back. I would like Jonathan Taylor just for the consistency and getting most of those carries tonight.
My only worry with JT is just the fact that Sean Payton loves to blitz. And the one thing that has worked for Indy is running the ball with Anthony Richardson and Taylor. And like, if you force it, we saw it last week. If you force Anthony Richardson to throw, he fucking sucks. So I just, as much as I love Jonathan Taylor, I'm staying away from that against any team that blitzes like the Broncos do. I think this could be a really, it's either going to be, he's going to go for 200 yards or he's going to go for 10. That's the problem.
I think that's the case with Breece Hall too.
Breece Hall, it all depends on how good Braylon Allen plays and if Aaron Rodgers takes enough ayahuasca.
I'm concerned with him missing 2 practices, missing the game, and then all of a sudden being healthy. He must have use the Aaron Rodgers get healthy plan. Alrighty, what was next here? Anthony Richardson, over or under 45.5 rushing yards.
I'll say under. I think he's going to do something stupid and run like backwards 5 yards today.
Yeah, I think he's going to be forced to throw it, and it's going to have to come out quick, and he's not going to be able to get out of the pocket or step up. So
Rachaad White, over under 44.5 rushing yards.
I'll say over. I think they've kind of started using him as like split backfield, but he's the third down back every time. So I think 44.5 is reasonable considering he's had like 75 plus in 2 straight games.
yeah, I'll agree with that. I'll go with the over for him. Hopefully he gets a lot more action than Bucky Irving, so hopefully that'll help him out in today's game.
Over under 112 rushing plus receiving yards from Saquon Barkley.
I'll say over for this one reason. I saw this stat. If you took away all of his first half rushing yards this year, rushing plus receiving yards this year, he's still number 2 in rushing yards this year. Like if you just took away his first half ones. So I think I don't know what's going on in Philly between this whole AJ Brown drama again and, you know, now that they have the actual backfield, like it's a really weird setup and you don't really know what's going to happen. But the one consistent is that they're going to let Saquon feed.
Yeah, I think he's on his way to get Offensive Player of the Year. He's got to keep that campaign strong. So I think if you're trying to make that statement that you should vote for me and I deserve it, he's got to get over that line, especially in the battle for Pennsylvania, a heated rivalry. So
Over under 69.5 receiving yards for Jackson, Smith, and Jigba.
I'm gonna say over. I think this is going to be a big game today, and I think they've started trusting him more and more each week. And I just don't trust the Packers secondary, even if Jair Alexander's in or not.
It might be worse if he isn't.
Yeah, the problem is Geno Smith is starting to regress back a bit, and so it's what do you like? Charbonnet, I don't think is going to have a good game. You got to force to pass it. And your only real option is going to be JSN.
yeah, I agree with that.
Over under 21.5 completions from Caleb Williams.
That's going to be an if. That's an if one, how they run the offense. If they run a bunch of short routes, then yes, I'll say yes. But if they try to do the Matt Eberflus, send 3 people downfield, then no, because this team gets to the backfield way too quickly. I think we could see a lot of I think that's where DeAndre Swift might be used a lot because he's a better receiving back than Roschon Johnson. So I think that's where he might be used a lot more this week because this team blitzes the shit out of the ball.
Yeah, I think this is one of those lines where if you get the over, you're possibly going to have a 1-pass bad beat. I think this could go either way, depending on how he's been playing. It's kind of on and off, but I hope for the over on everything, so I'll go for the over.
Adding a play, DeAndre Swift over 12.5 receiving yards.
And last one here, Brock Bowers, over under 64.5 receiving yards.
Oh, gotta be an over. I mean, he gets 15 plus targets a game. And I think this game might actually be kind of close if Kirk Cousins doesn't get benched halfway through it.
Yeah, I'm going with the over. I know Brock is close to breaking the receptions leader for rookie tight ends and then also the receiving record. So just on that pace he's been all season, even with the third string quarterback, I think he'll somehow get to 70 plus this week.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. They gave up 26 yards alone just to Josh Oliver, and he only played 6 plays last week. So like it's funny because like you look at Atlanta's defense versus tight ends, they've either given up like 30 to 40 yards above their line, or they've given up 0. TJ Hawkinson, Oliver both went over. Will Dissly the week before, 0. Adam Troutman, Foster Moreau, Juwan Johnson all hit 0s. Jake Ferguson the week before, 71.
Alrighty, and QB1 this week.
Give me Josh Allen again. I'll go chalk.
I'm gonna go Burrow.
Are we able to pick the same quarterback or?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll go Josh Allen with how he's been playing the last few weeks.
It's actually going to be Michael Penix.
Right. RB1.
Jake Haener.
Yeah, Jake Haener.
RB1, I'll go with Saquon this week.
I'll go Bijan.
I'll go Monty.
Wide receiver 1. Give me Chase.
Let's go Jordan Addison. Why not? Let's have a day.
I'll go with this team. I'll go Justin Jefferson.
Tight end 1.
I'll go Brock Bowers.
On principle, I feel like I have to say Jonnu Smith. In the amount I've used him, I'll go sneaky. I'll go Freiermuth.
I'll go Kelsey. What is your favorite Christmas movie?
If it's not Elf or A Christmas Story, it's wrong. That's my opinion.
I don't even watch Christmas movies.
It's definitely Christmas Vacation.
Most underrated one will be Fred Claus. I feel like no one knows about Fred Claus, and it's like one of the funniest ones.
Well, it's definitely funnier than the first 2 that you said.
Debatable.
Will Ferrell's not funny. You don't have a favorite Christmas movie?
No, I don't know. I just don't watch them.
Brother,
not even Die Hard?
Yeah, even Die Hard or Lethal Weapon?
Mm-mm.
I'm gonna have a talk with my niece. I'm texting her right now. All right, and then what game not involving your favorite team are you watching today?
See, the problem is I have to have the Jets game on at work, so I guess it's gonna be the Jets game.
I know the probable favorite is Lions Bills. I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh Eagles just because that toughness of schedule with Pittsburgh, seeing how they can start that 3-game stretch and hopefully lock in a playoff spot.
Give me Lions Bills so I can hate watch the Bills. But I'm going to be watching the Red Zone for the second set of games. So, all righty. Anything else you guys want to add?
That's it.
All right. Well, good luck with your matchups this week for Danny, who's going to win or lose a lot of money today. And for Zach, who's never going to be back because he doesn't watch Christmas movies, I'm DJ. We'll see you next week. I just got to figure out where the end button is.
This has been a For Frequency Sake Podcast Network production. For more great content, subscribe to For Frequency Sake on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.